Welcome to the channel, everybody. Just look at that absolutely breathtaking background of Raccoon City in its pure bliss and tragic destruction. Now, looking at this, I can't wait to play the game more so ever than before, but considering the title of the video, I really can't wait to go and no clip around the city and explore all of the environments you're not allowed to go into usually and show those off to you guys, and I hope you're looking forward to that. Now, I could have made a usual playthrough of Resident Evil 2's demo like everybody else, talking about the same things that everybody else has, but instead, well, I got access to a no-clip mod and I decided to go outside the environment of the demo's boundaries and to see what was there and what kind of fun things I could find. We'll start with the outside of the RPD. It is very dark here and I do apologize for that, but the first notable thing of interest to me was the fact that all of the buildings had textures for the roofs. Now, there's absolutely no reason to need to do this, so I just found it pretty interesting. Now we're outside the main gates. You can see the zombies back here, and I wanted to see the interior of some of these vehicles. So we'll start off with the bus being the most interesting vehicle, of course, and being utilized in the game. So let's get into it anyway. And as you can see, the bus has been modeled already for the interior, although it doesn't look the best at the moment, and it does look like it's just for demo purposes, which in my opinion further implicates this is the TGS build that we have access to. Next up, I wanted to take a look inside the police car to see how well it had been modeled, and I found something kind of interesting about police cars in Raccoon City. As you can see, the rain goes completely through the roof of the car, soaking the interiors and the occupants within, meaning that the roof is absolutely useless. I'm not sure if they're making it out of paper or something, but this is obviously why the police department was overrun so badly and why Chief Bryans is such a terrible police chief. Next up, I just want to show you actually how beautiful the zombies look on the PC version of the game. I managed to freeze the camera here to show you guys really well what they look like, so there's no motion distorting the image and lowering the resolution, and as you can see, they look absolutely astonishing. Each of these zombies all have an individualized and personal look, but the level of detail that's gone into them is just absolutely incredible. This game's graphics, each time I look at them, never cease to amaze me. I'm sure the artist must have had a hell of a lot of fun adding all this gore and putting all of these bloody textures all over the place, but it must have also been a very difficult one, as these look like the most authentic zombies I've seen in a game to date. Now, most of the outsides of the buildings do have windows and doors fully textured and modeled for absolutely all of them, and we covered they have roofs as well. However, we're about to delve into the abyss, and I call it the abyss because it's just a general term I use for gaming for zones that you're not supposed to be able to see. So this would be areas that are usually inaccessible to the player, for example underneath the map, and well, there's always some interesting things in the Abyss in every single game, so let's get into Resident Evil 2's demo's Abyss. Oh, look at this! We've reached the edge of the demo, the Abyss, but there are still cars littered around the environment here. Now, isn't this interesting? There's also other objects such as buildings you shouldn't be able to see. We'll cover that later, you'll see some more of those. And there's also some more cars and other things, as well as a map underneath the map, which I know that sounds kind of funny, but that's true. There's a map underneath the map. You'll see that soon. But there's all sorts of interesting things here. I'll let you guys look for a second and just appreciate the scenery. Now here we've got behind the RPD, and as you can see, sections of it have been removed from what should be the full render, and also you can see the skybox being lit to give that beautiful shining light through to the main hall. Now of course you can also see a lot of the abyss here, but there is a lot of beautiful textures, to be honest, and with the amount of lighting here, I'm actually amazed at how beautiful everything looks. Like, I can't say that enough. This engine just keeps absolutely amazing me. But we'll get a little bit closer so we can look at some of those urban environments anyway. Now, it's kind of funny something I'm seeing here. When I went underneath the map but I looked at the zombies, I noticed their heads kind of disappeared. But also, if you do check it out, it looks like their bodies have lost a lot of their textures, and it looks like they've been downgraded heavily. I'm wondering if this is some kind of optimization system by Capcom. Maybe when you lose line of sight of them, they load in a lower taxing model to compensate, and then, you know, it's still relatively the same model, so that if you do see a quick transition while the new one loads, you shouldn't notice anything too drastic. That's the thought I had. Let me know what you think about this one below, because I just kind of find this one very curious. Now, just as a little additional thought to this, you saw the zombie on the right earlier. He was fully clothed, and you could see a very high quality model with him. But when you look in the second screenshot, he's completely naked, which I actually have to give it to Capcom, and this also is, by the way, an implication of how much you can damage the zombies. I'm assuming this is a giveaway now, by the way, that you'll be able to slice all of the skin off the zombies similar to Jack in Resident Evil 7, but on top of that, he's lost all of his clothes, so again, I think it might be an optimization thing. I mean, we've just found a few things out at once, guys. I believe the AvidExpert channel, right? Now, remember how I talked about there being a map underneath the map, guys? Well, this should come in a later during the gameplay, but it's been placed underneath the map. And I'm just thinking, honestly, this is a little bit coincidental. I mean, I've seen many hidden assets ready to be teleported elsewhere in games. If anyone remembers my Evil Within coverage, we saw many uses of that. But to place the map underneath the map, is somebody a huge jokester here, knowing that this was going to be no clipped already? I'm guaranteeing there was a developer at Capcom sat there and they were like, look, I don't care what management says with this 30-minute time limit. I know what the PC community's like. They're not just gonna mod that out. They're gonna have no clip, infinite ammo, god mode. They're gonna data mine everything. I'm gonna put a map underneath a map as a little nod to whoever sees it. And if you do see this video, you're a fucking joker. I love you. I looked around other certain sections. I did a quick scan through, guys, because I was having to really micromanage two different things to try to get this mod to work for no clipping, and it was kind of a hassle, I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of annoyance getting this video created, but there's some interesting things that you've seen already. Now, if people did enjoy this, I'd be willing to make a part 2 where I literally go inside every single building and asset to look for any kind of Easter eggs or any references that the developers might have left in for people like us that love to hunt for those things. The Evil Within 2 developers did it, many other developers have done it, and hell, even Capcom has actually done it before, with Resident Evil 4 containing quite a few assets outside the map and nods to players for them to find. Halo 2 even had a message written on the ground outside the map for players telling them they shouldn't be there. You see, guys, this is where the story gets dark. I am just a poor child from a post-apocalyptic city that is constantly in turmoil. As you can see, this is not actually the introduction to Resident Evil 2, but just a journalist footage of my current environment. I'm currently trying to raise 13 children, as well as 3 cows, and also the fact is I'm in $480,000 worth of debt to a Ugandan prince. If you would please share my content out there, I would really appreciate it, as I need all that money to pay off the debt. And also you could support me on Patreon to get Avid out of the Ugandan Prince Debt Foundation. I just hope you're having a beautiful day. As always, take it easy and peace.